Now, the only fly in the ointment was I got an overdrive. We got on the train at Herne Bay for Tilbury, all of us. We got on the train at Victoria, changed trains at Victoria and went to Tilbury. There was the ship, the Orion. When I said there was one policeman, actually there were two. There was a sergeant and an officer, and they were checking the passports. I said to Elizabeth, "Now look, they're not after you, it's me they're after. You get aboard with the kids," and I said, I'll find my way out here somewhere. You get out there. So we went up, took the passport out, we were all on one passport. And the sergeant took it. Albert William Derry, sergeant. Elizabeth Derry. And the names of the children was Mr. Johnson, Judith, David, Mary. Right, carry on. They weren't after me at all. Oh. Later I learned they arrested somebody else. What he'd done, I don't know. But that's how we got aboard the ship for Australia. Well, before we set sail for Australia, I must tell you the sequel of the Indian bearer I told you about in Bangalore, the one who was dressed in white with the white turban and the red sash across his chest, who for 3 nights visited me in the Bangalore doing this with his hands. About 8 years later, in England, we were home, and I was travelling for the Britannia Rubber Company, and one Sunday night I was in the Grosvenor having a drink, and Bill Salt, who travelled for Bill Robinson, that's right, he travelled for a Birmingham firm of kitchen manufacturers. He said to me, "I don't suppose you're doing Norfolk this week, are you?" I said, "As a matter of fact, I am, it's mine." "Oh," he said, "good." He said, "I went to leave my car in Norwich, I haven't got enough petrol to get home." Because he got a car, and I got a van, and you get more petrol for a commercial vehicle. So I arranged to pick him up on the Monday morning at 6 o'clock. And the first call was Beach, quite some distance from Nottingham. We did the business there, and then he said to me, he said, "Are you in with Cartwrights at King's Lynn?" I said, "No." "Oh," he said, "a good house there." He said, "They've got the coat of arms over the door." He said, "They supply the royal family at Sandringham. So if you put your foot down, I'll introduce you to the manager before he goes for lunch." So we set off. Now the old Bradford van, although it was only a 2-stroke, they could certainly move. And we were doing about 70 miles an hour, when all at once, right in the windscreen, in front of the windscreen, was this Indian bearer, doing this with his hands. Now I'll tell you the story through Robinson's eyes. He says, "Suddenly," he said, "you shot your arm up like that and pointed, and your finger started to move down. And as your finger moved down, your foot came off the accelerator onto the brake." He said, "I looked where your finger was looking, and all I could see was a hedgerow coming down the hill." And they said, "You moved down like that," and they said, when we were doing about 40 miles an hour, this runaway milk float suddenly came out from the back of the hedge and hit the curve right in front of us. There was a coach coming this way, and he said, "We just managed to pull up with a cigarette paper between us and that milk float. We'd have hit it, 70 miles an hour, both been killed, except for that Indian bearer." Anyway, we set sail from Tilbury just before Christmas, 1961, called in Piraeus, and then we called in Bombay. And we spent a whole day in Bombay. Well, I'd spent during the war some time there, and we took a 2-horse gharry and we went along to the leather market to buy the kids some shoes. And I saw the very man who previously had made me a pigskin case. He didn't know me because I got a beard, but I made myself known to him. "Oh, sir! Oh, sir! Why did you leave us?" He didn't mean me, he meant the British. "Oh, we don't like working for ourselves. Oh, can't even get a drink." So there we are, they thought a lot of things, did the Indians. Anyway, we left Bombay, and on the way to Fremantle, the first port of call, we passed the Christmas Islands, and a ship really goes by about once a week, I think, and those on the Christmas Island all light a bonfire, and the ship's siren gives them a welcome as they go by. We called in Fremantle, and then we set off from Melbourne, and then finally arrived in Sydney. Now, Elizabeth had got 2 aunts and an uncle living out there, but of course there was nobody to meet us because the 2 aunts lived up in Katoomba, up in the Blue Mountains, and Uncle Stanley, but we didn't even know where he was. So we went to a place called Bradfield Park, and on the first morning we spent a night there. We went into the Hyde Park in Sydney, and left the 3 children in charge of Jonathan. He was then 14, and arranged to meet them at lunchtime in the park. In the meantime, Elizabeth went one way around Sydney, the art manufacturers, the art studios, and I went the other way around. And I could see when I met her at 1 o'clock, we'd had no success either of it. And then she suddenly thought of the education department. She rang them up, came back, she said they want to see it. I thought, may as well, you know. Cut a long story short, within 5 days we were working as teachers in the Australian high schools. So we moved from Bradfield Park to Dundas, which was nearer to where we were going to teach. My first school was called Sefton. And I used to sit up in the morning, leave the 2 young children in the nursery, we arranged for a nursery for them. The other 2 we dropped off at their schools. I ran Elizabeth to Sydney itself, and then I had to double back 18 miles to teach at this school called Sefton. It was a new school, and I was engaged there to teach art and to teach music. Now, I taught music before privately, but never in a classroom. And in a classroom, you've got to be very, very careful what you say. Very careful. I remember one of the first questions I asked to a class of 12-year-olds. I said, if I had a metronome, what could I do with it? Well, the answer was absolutely vulgar and ridiculous in its suggestion. Okay? So you have to word things very differently in the school.